Hello, it's me here for NSF, and today we got some incredible footage of the new United Launch Alliance Vulcan rocket lighting up the night sky and blasting off from Florida's space coast. We also got some great shots of the solid booster separation and the amazing plume that came out of the back of the rocket. Yeah, I don't think you've ever seen a rocket light up the sky quite like that before. Let's watch it again. We had two cameras positioned at either side of the rocket. This is looking from the main camera position just downrange of the rocket. Check that out! For engines lighting up, and then watch the first couple of seconds of video as the rocket goes straight up. The reason why you see these bright white clouds at the base of the rocket is because the Vulcan uses a combination of methane and liquid oxygen as its propellants. And when those get blasted out of the bottom of the engines, they mix together and ignite right away. But they don't burn very cleanly. So you see these big white clouds at the base of the rocket as it gets going. But now let's look at that again from another angle. We had a second camera set up behind the main press site, kind of behind the main camera position, looking over the shoulder of that camera. And look at the awesome plume coming off of this rocket. Just a fantastic plume. And check out how tall the rocket is. Look at the very top of the rocket, how tall that thing is. And now we now switch over to our live stream and take a look at some other angles of this incredible launch. Here we are live on our channel. I love this shot right here. Looking downrange, you can see the Sentinel-6 Michael Freilich satellite that recently launched on a Falcon 9. It is still in view as we get ready for the launch of the Vulcan rocket. That Sentinel-6 satellite is up there in low Earth orbit, and the Vulcan is about to boost the satellites into geostationary transfer orbit. Here is a great illustration of what the path of the rocket is going to be, and how the satellites will ultimately end up in geostationary transfer orbit. This map was published by the folks over at the Space Track website, which is a fantastic website where you can track satellites. This is the track that the Vulcan rocket is about to take. You can see the Earth right here, and the line that you're seeing from the rocket right here is the path that the rocket will follow. Eventually, the rocket will pass over the Indian Ocean, and that's where the first stage will probably drop down into the water. And then the second stage will continue on until it gets to the point where it injects the two payloads into geosynchronous orbit. That's going to happen right about here, and so that's the track that the rocket is about to take. Again, this is a map put together by the folks over at Space Track. Real cool people over there. Very, very talented. They do a fantastic job of tracking all these launches for us. Now, our eyes are fixed on the launch pad, and we're waiting for the countdown to go all the way down to 0. Now, remember, this is the first operational launch of the Vulcan rocket carrying actual payloads. There's been 2 test flights of this rocket. And one of the things that I am interested in seeing is whether or not we get the solid booster separation. During the previous test flight of this rocket, we did not see the solid booster separate. So, hopefully during this launch, we'll actually get to see the solid boosters fall away. And we're at T-5 seconds. I'm getting excited. Go time. 4, 3, 2, 1.0. And here we go. Lift off the Vulcan rocket. Check that out. Just a spectacular plume coming off the bottom of this rocket. What a sight! What a sight! Now, we're getting some telemetry data through our connection to the ULA website, and we're at max Q. Now max Q is when the vehicle experiences its maximum dynamic pressure, and according to the data, the dynamic pressure peaked at 712 psi. That's significantly higher than both of the previous test launches of the Vulcan. According to a tweet sent out by the folks at NSF, this is 100 tons of thrust. And here we go. The strap-on solid boosters are about to separate. Yes, we saw the solid boosters separate. There's the first one. There's the second one. There's the third one. There's the fourth one. Fantastic. The solid boosters are separated. And according to our telemetry data, we're at main engine cutoff. Let us keep watching to see if we can catch the first stage of the rocket as it comes back down to Earth. There's the first stage separating from the Centaur upper stage. And now here comes the hard part for the first stage. It has to flip itself around and get ready to come back down to Earth. Now, we're at a point where the first stage should start reigniting its engines. We'll see if that happens on our camera feed. But according to the telemetry, yes, the engines have reignited. And according to the telemetry, the first stage is now in a suborbital trajectory. But that doesn't mean it's coming back down to Earth. That just means it's no longer in an orbital trajectory. Here we go. Here's the first stage. You can see the fire coming out of the engines. The reason why it looks like the fire is blowing backwards is because our camera is pointed slightly upward, and that causes the distortion. Actually, the fire is coming out of the engines and going straight out. But because our camera is tilted upwards a little bit, it looks like the fire is going backwards. I wonder if we'll get to see the fairing halves. No, we won't get to see the fairing halves. I doubt it. And here we go. The Centaur upper stage engine ignites. We can see the fire coming out of the engine. Centaur upper stage engine is now on nominal. And there's the Centaur upper stage separating from the first stage. And according to the telemetry, the first stage is now in a suborbital trajectory. That means it's not going to make it back to Earth. It's not going to be recovered. Now, our camera feed is starting to pick up the second stage. There's the second stage. Can you see the fire coming out of the engine? Yep, Dot, and now let's go back over to our live stream and see what we can find. Okay, our live stream is now showing the second stage, which is now firing its engine to get into orbit. The plan for the second stage is to fly for about 5 minutes and then put two satellites into geosynchronous orbit. According to our telemetry, we're at main engine cutoff for the second stage. According to the telemetry, the second stage is now coasting. The second stage is going to coast for about 5 minutes while the payloads separate and orient themselves. And now we're supposed to see payload 1 separate. Payload 1 is considered the primary payload. It's the most important payload. It's the biggest payload. Payload 2 is considered the secondary payload. Payload 1 separates successfully, and Payload 1 was a classified military satellite for the USSF. Payload 2 separates successfully, and that was the NTS-3 satellite, an experimental navigation satellite. Okay, now we're going to listen in to the official ULA commentary and see what they have to say. ULA commentator said, "That was a flawless lift-off of our first operational launch of Vulcan carrying USSF 106 into orbit. We hope you enjoyed the show." And he said, "Tori, you bet we did. A great performance by the team. Thanks for tuning in." So, congratulations to United Launch Alliance on their first operational flight of the Vulcan rocket. And what a way to do it, lighting up the night sky in a beautiful display of power. Well, folks, it's me here for NSF. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and stay tuned to our website for all the latest news in space. Fly safe.